the basic idea is that my job as a human being is to figure out a way for me to become intimate with the part of me that is the real me. And that's a process, isn't it? So the part of me that is the real me, we could define, even though it's beyond definition. There's no kind of words that can describe it. That's why we, as human beings, do art and poetry and things that are artistic, because our normal language won't satisfy us when we're trying to describe reality. So we have to paint something, or we have to make a music, or make some sort of artistic expression. That's what thou art God means. Thou art God. Art is what connects thou to the infinite God. So the goal of every human being is to get the part of me that never dies. That's how we can begin to define the me inside of the me, the real you. That is definitely present, and yet sometimes elusive, and sometimes hard to kind of hold inside of our presence, so it projects. And that's essentially what we're endeavoring to do, is to get that aspect of us to be the predominant aspect that projects via our presence, via our thoughts, via our emotions, via our feelings, via our desires. Are you guys following me? So we can begin to define it as the non-dying part of me, just that which was here before this physical shell was here, and that when this physical shell, when this thing is done for, that which will continue on. So it is the continuum. It is the continuum that carries the information of your genetic code, that carries the information of your karmas and samskaras, your previous activities of incarnations and incarnations and incarnations. So it's an intelligence. There's an intelligence. It's a non-dying intelligence. It's a non-dying awareness. Beyond that, there's not so much we can say. Is that a woodpecker? Really? I thought somebody was trying to get their pen to work, but I was like, that's really rude. Say, relax, guy. So it's a non-dying intelligence, a continuum. Can we get on board with that? So it is that soul, we'll call the soul, that is impulsing, is an impulsation of the soul which causes me to release a thought. That impulsation of that soul energy causes me to release the thought. The impulsation of the soul, that's represented in that sound current you see on the top. We're not going to go into all the words and all this on that stuff, because we don't need to. But I want to unpack this in the context of your mind. That sound current manifests as a thought. So sound current relates to which element? Which of the 5 elements? The first element, ether element. So the substratum from the yogic mind, yogic perspective, the substratum of all of creation, the fabric of all creation is built on sound, vibration. Sound vibration. And so that sound, ultimately, that is the substratum, the fabric of all of life, manifests in my mind as a thought. It's a sound. And that's why I often describe the goal of yoga is to create a container, to create an organism that can hold, carry, and project a high quality sound. That's why mantra is so beloved for yogis. Is even the exercises the physical exercises, the breath work, ultimately are about being able to hold a high quality sound current. Does that make sense to you guys? Because how important is sound is how important are my thoughts to my life. Pretty important, wouldn't you say? Pretty important. Because my thoughts are either going to give me prosperity or poverty. My thoughts are either going to give me vitality or stress. My thoughts are either going to give me love or fear. It's thought. It's a thought. It's a sound current. But in order for me, because it's not complicated to be able to understand that. It's not complicated to know how I want to be compassionate, I want to be loving, but what has to happen is I have to have the energetic capacity to hold it, to hold that sound, to hold a high frequency sound consistently. High frequency sound will produce compassion, love, illumination, sweetness, devotion, naturally, organically, not a manufactured devotion or manufactured sweetness or manufactured love. Organic, spontaneous. So a low frequency sound current will produce more of the anxiety, worry, doubt, fear, anger, depression, etc. And then if my organism has a chronically kind of tamas, lower frequency energy, lack of chi, lack of prana, lack of brightness, then I have created an environment, or I'm inhabiting an environment that is extremely vulnerable to those types of thoughts, feelings, emotions to become chronic. So therefore I'm chronically insecure, chronically angry, uncontrollable, chronically depressed, uncontrollable. And when we're chronically depressed, and who's been there? When we're chronically depressed, does it feel like there's a way out? Feels impossible, doesn't it? It feels impossible. But flip that. When you're chronically devotional, doesn't feel like there's a way out of that either. It doesn't. When it's not manufactured. You know what I mean by manufactured? We can manufacture it in the form of religion, manufacture in the form of, a good idea. Good idea. Could be a religion, could be whatever. But that a lot of us rejected the religious traditions we've come up in because we were surrounded by folks who had manufactured their devotion. Not that there was any problem inherently with that tradition. They're all spiritual sciences that work. I haven't found one yet that I don't think wouldn't work. But when it becomes a facade, it's nothing. It's empty of any real substance. So our basic thing here is that my job is to get that pure impulsation of the soul energy, which is by definition pure intelligence, to be able to project through my mind and thus my presence without being heavily distorted. I feel like that woodpecker's just like challenging me right now. And that's the question, because what was that 70% from last night of happiness? Is this a problem or is this an opportunity? So what the challenges that come either cause you to focus deeper, cause you to become more subtle, cause you to become more intuitive. Yes or no? Or they'll cause you to become more distracted, cause you to become more irritable and more insecure. So in that moment of truth, that bifurcation where you've hit a threshold of stress, and it happens often, doesn't it? And it not just in Kriyas, but in any given day, it happens. And it particularly happens when we're doing things that are important to us. Yes? That's why I'm a huge fan of mission-oriented lifestyles, that where the entire lifestyle needs to revolve around a mission. What is that mission? We don't know. maybe. But we start to create a awareness to where it will reveal itself. It's not for you to go and find, it's for you to create a clarity of your mind, so it would be impossible not to move in the direction of that mission, whatever it may be. Is that resonating? So when it's a mission-oriented lifestyle, it will cause you to do things that are going to put you under high-pressure situations. Why? Why, when it's a mission-oriented lifestyle, will it cause you to put yourself under high-pressure situations? That'll be the results, but how so? Yeah, I agree with that. When you're doing something that's important for yourself, I think all that is, I agree. When you're doing things that are very important to you, you're going to take them seriously. And when you're taking something seriously and it's important to you, do you want to succeed or do you want to fail? Of course, you always want to succeed. Is it going to be very important to you to succeed? Is it going to be very important for your entire sense of satisfaction and sense of self-worth and everything? It's going to be very important for you. And furthermore, if you're truly mission-oriented, meaning you've kind of bought into this idea that I'm not just here for some like random reason, that I'm actually here for a specific reason. And that I've been designed, and these little fingers and this weird body has been designed perfectly and has been wired specifically for my talent that is unique to me to pursue and accomplish that mission. And that my mission is intertwined with the mission of every other being on the planet. And it creates this vast web. And so if I'm shortchanging myself, then I'm also simultaneously shortchanging the web. Hello? So, therefore, there's a little bit of pressure. And it's a good pressure, because we want pressure, because without pressure you can't, what was the word? Crystallize. And you must crystallize. That's what this radiant body is all about. We say the end result of all Kundalini Yoga is the radiant body. The end result of all of Ayurveda is the creation of ojas. The end result of the yogic process, in a certain context, which I'll elaborate on in a little bit, we could say is the generation of a radiant body. Because it is that radiant body that will cause everything else to happen. Because I can't do it with my mind. The mind isn't going to do it. The mind is a tool.
So